Hey folks, this is Dan Reichert here with Fire Emblem Fates, and normally with these quick looks we have at least one other fella here on the couch next to me, but I asked around, and try as I might, it does not seem like there are a lot of Fire Emblem fans in the office, so I'm going to be giving you guys a bit of a solo look here.
Dan, wait! Wait!
Oh my God! Holy crap!
I couldn't let you do this alone. I love anime and tactics too much.
Austin Walker, noted anime and tactics lover.
I'm right here. I'm right with you here in the studio.
Oh my God! I hope you're able to expense that flight. I'm so glad you're here, Austin.
No, it's out of my own pocket. It's my love for anime tactics is so high. I really had to give it my all.
Okay, well, I really appreciate it, Austin. I'm also a lover of anime tactics.
Not anime and tactics, but anime tactics.
Yes, anime tactics. So let's jump into this weird damn game, Austin. Are you playing this?
That sounds good. I just started playing today. Yeah.
Okay.
On the flight over, obviously, I had some time.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Totally, yeah. So let me kind of explain the big weird thing with this game. You can kind of see this grayed out branch of fate option, which I'm sure a lot of people that are interested in this game or maybe watching this quick look know that there's some weirdness with the way that this is put together. So there are 3 retail products and 1 DLC, basically, like almost like 3 different games. So there's Fire Emblem Conquest, which is one side of the story. There's Fire Emblem Birthright, which is another side of the story. There's also the Fire Emblem Special Edition retail package, which has both of those and the DLC on the cart, which is Fire Emblem Fates Revelation, which that is the cart that I'm playing on here. So you can see I've got a few different saves here. This one up here is Birthright, which is the one I've put the most time in. Down here, I'm a couple chapters into, I'm trying to get them all together, Conquest. And then I will show the actual branch where you make that decision. And I will do the third option and go into Revelation and just do a quick teaser of what that entails.
Okay, so you're kind of deep into Birthright. Is there any way to tell which is which? Is just the kind of frame here?
Yeah, I guess it's just the color here. So yeah, it's Birthright, Pre-Split, and Conquest here. So basically, man, I almost wonder if I should just show the split first, and then I can show how things are different going forward. How about I do that?
That sounds good.
All right. So if anyone doesn't...
Right.
Yeah. Spoiler, warning and everything here. I will be showing the split, which is the big thing.
But it's still pretty early on. It's only 6 chapters in. This is and even before the games separate themselves, really. Yeah,
and it's almost like tutorial stuff still at this point. So that's Xander. He is part of the Norian royal family, of which I am. I am Reichert there.
There you are. That looks just like you.
Yep, of noble blood. So I'm part of this Nor royal family here, and they are at war with the Hoshido clan, which are a bunch of cool ninja samurai guys.
Sure.
Yeah, so as of right now, our father, who is a real evil-looking dude, sends his family out, and we're going to try to conquer Hoshido.
So it's almost like a Europe versus Japan thing happening here, like knights and wizards on one side, and on the other side it's like samurai and Japan-style stuff.
Yeah, I've seen The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
Right, that's basically this.
Yeah.
This is a documentary game based on the true events of The Last Samurai.
Exactly. I remember that movie being all right. So as you can see here, the whole dialogue and everything, it's very Fire Emblem-y. I think I've played every Fire Emblem.
Well, you've played every Western Fire Emblem, right?
Right.
From the GB, from that first one that came out for us in the GBA.
Yes, and then they had Path of Radiance on GameCube, Awakening, and I enjoy these games quite a bit. I like tactical RPGs.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were one of the people who'd kind of come into it at the Awakening. I know a lot of people jumped on board with Fire Emblem Awakening.
No, I got on early on, because I really liked Advance Wars, and when I saw that there was more tactical stuff on GBA, I also went to Fire Emblem. Because I'm not typically a JRPG/anime-like dude. But Final Fantasy Tactics was the first Final Fantasy game I got super into. I love Tactics. I love Tactics Advanced. I just like the kind of chess-like gameplay and all the classes and all that stuff. So I branch out a bit into JRPGs.
So what is happening here?
They are mad at each other. So Reichert. I think his real name is Camille or something if you don't change your name to yourself.
Corin,
that sounds about right, yeah. So basically you think that you're part of this royal Norian family. So here's,
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it just straight up tells you what you're going to be doing here. So I thought I was with Nor growing up. I was raised, I got brothers, I got sisters, I got a big evil-ass dad who's the king.
He looks real evil. I hope we see him in this quick look.
Duper evil.
Because, like, if my dad looked like that, every day of my life I'd be wondering why I wasn't as evil as him.
Well, which is why when I got to this the first time, I was like, oh, defend Hoshido, without even knowing anything about them. It's like, oh, they're just not super duper fucking evil.
Right.
So it turns out he gives you the sword, and then you go to this town square, and then it blows up and kills a bunch of civilians. And it turns out your dad, sent you with a sword and everything and blew up. And then you get told by the ninjas, they're like, no, your dad kidnapped you from us and raised you as his own, but we're your real family. And so now you get to this point where you're like, oh, do I believe them and defend Hoshido, the cool-ass ninja dudes, or should I fight with my evil-ass dad?
So, really, the thing here is I was going to dismiss the Nor stuff as being kind of like kind of high school. Like when I was in high school, I loved being dark side and everything. I liked being dark Jedi and shit. But also, I did love samurai and ninjas. So even 13-year-old Austin would kind of have a hard choice here.
Yeah, I went with Hoshido because of the ninjas and stuff, because they don't seem like cool bad guys. They just seem like lame, like rich, aristocratic, bad guys. But
so what are you going to choose here?
Well, you know what? My other two saves are these two, the normal ones. So I almost kind of just think maybe let's see just the cutscene, I guess, that happens if we do this, and then I'll show the gameplay on the two standard sides. Because this DLC will not be out until March 10th. So I only have this because it's on the cart of the special edition. Not recommended? Screw it.
Since when do we ever listen to recommendations?
Yeah. So I have no idea what this entails. I don't know if you side with anyone.
It's weird because this isn't spoilery in the sense that it is like showing deep into the game, but it's just a different path than most people will pick on that first try.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to fight against the royal family because they cared for me and they raised me and all that stuff.
Your brothers and sisters are chill though, right? Like they're not.
Yeah, they're
big
cool.
Evil.
They're cool. Xander seems like he might be a dick.
Okay.
He's kind of the Kingslayer character of this,
Gotcha.
Yeah, he definitely.
He even kind of looks like the Kingslayer a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so they don't seem super mad at me. No, I'm not going to be with the Hoshidan either.
You kind of like, it was kind of a weak no that Riker just said.
Yeah.
No.
So and all these ninjas seem real cool too. So I guess I'm just going to wander the earth here like David Carradine in Kung Fu.
That sounds all right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of deep into Birthright. Do you get the sense that one side is the good side and one side is the bad side, or is it more complicated than that?
I definitely get the sense that Birthright, like the ninjas, are the right side of the story, like the more just. But I think if you go with the Norians, I think you're trying to like take it out from the inside. So like you're convincing your family, like, hey, dad's a dick, or fake dad's a dick. I know he's not my real dad, but because no matter what, he's not your real dad.
Okay, so because you get to this point no matter what, you go through the first six missions and you understand that you weren't born there and blah blah blah.
Yes.
Regardless of whether or not you decide to go with them in the end.
Yeah,
and that's
you
true for
realize
people
that
who even download just the Conquest version of the game. Like everybody gets these same first 6 missions.
Yes, everyone.
Gotcha.
And there's a bunch of shared units and stuff that you'll get no matter what. Oh, there's a lot of going on here.
There's a lot of yawing.
Let's see. Okay. Oh, so is this like a triple threat match? Is that what's going on here?
That's right.
Okay.
For the title of who's king of this whole land.
We're on the fast lane to Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go. So Azura is a neutral character. She will be with you on either side. She's a songstress, so she can sing and give you extra turns and everything, which is
okay. Like that sort of class has been like it was dancers, I think, maybe in the last game.
Yeah. In Awakening, yeah.
So how is this tactically? Like, are you having a good time?
I am, and in fact, let me just go ahead and load up my actual thing.
Okay.
Oh wow! So it starts right off like, beat both of the other guys.
Oh, that's kind of dope. That's kind of a tough challenge with only these 3 units.
Yeah, you got Norians over there, and then I can actually on the bottom screen pull up this. So yeah, I've got 2 opposing armies here. The Hoshidans here, the Norians here. Yeah, fuck that. That seems real hard. So we're gonna go back and go into the Birthright thing, and I'll show the actual tactical gameplay here. Which Birthright is considered the easier option. So that is the one where, like Awakening, you can kind of do these side things, these parallel missions.
It's a world map in a sense, right? Where like you can like grind a little bit by just doing random fights.
Yeah, there are challenge missions and stuff where you can get XP, you can get gold, and you can buy new items and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and load up. I'm at chapter 14 right now. I'm about 9 hours in with the Hoshidan, and they're pretty cool. So I'll just show this real quick. It's pretty bare bones. You build this castle area.
Fort Reichert, of course.
Yes, Fort Reichert. That's actually what it named it. Yeah. Oh, I got a statue myself, which I think at any point I can hit. Yeah, that's me.
Is it? Is that the statue you would build for yourself?
I mean,
Dad?
it's supposed to be. Yeah. Me reading a book. Yeah.
You holding a book up. Okay.
Yeah. So I have little gardens. I got a peach orchard. It's not morning, so I can't get anything now. But you can get different things.
Some springs, an arena.
Yep.
So you placed these items, or these
yes.
locations? Okay.
Yeah. So if you go in here, you get like this building currency basically.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, you can see I built the puppet.
So it's a little XCOM-y in the sense of like you're building out a home base.
A little bit, yeah. And I mean, you're building the places like you get engineering and research and XCOM. Here, I built a rod shop and the Dawn Army.
Okay.
What's that, Austin?
Okay, you decided to prioritize building that rod shop, I see.
Yeah, you gotta have a shop for your rods, man.
Okay, listen, you do you. That's cool.
Welcome.
Very quick aside, when I got hired at a TV station, my grandpa asked me what my job would be there, and I told him, I just gotta operate cameras and all this stuff, and he took it as like, oh, so you're just gonna be pushing rods around all day. I was like, yep, pushing rods around.
Pushing rods.
So whenever I hear rod, that's what I think of.
Dan Reichert, pushing rods.
Yep. I've got a dragon here. Oh wait, no, that's the statue. I've got a shrine.
Wait, so you have a statue of a dragon and also just a dragon?
Yeah, that's a dragon. It used to be a big, scary, cool dragon, and now it's a little Pokemon-looking thing. And I get peaches and rice and stuff, and I feed him, and he levels up, but he has not done anything cool yet.
Okay, so it's almost like a Tamagotchi or it's a virtual pet. Situation.
And you can tap like Marth amiibos and stuff to this, and they'll just be walking around your damn place.
Okay, sure.
So here is the world map of sorts. So if I want to...
So it isn't literally so in Awakening, you literally walked around a map.
Right,
so
and that's what I was
anymore.
expecting here. It kind of, it's not actual little characters walking around that you can run into and stuff.
Yeah.
But, you can scout for foes, and you can basically just dick around for a while and level up if you want to. I can do these challenges. I can see the level of the enemies and all that stuff. I can lower the enemy or difficulty, but you can't raise it. I'm playing on the default difficulty, but after XCOM, I don't want permadeath. I had a rough time with XCOM for things that had less to do with the actual difficulty and more with technical stuff. So I just wanted kind of a breezier experience this time.
Yeah, do some tactics, watch some anime. I get it, believe me.
Yeah, which I've always done Fire Emblem in the past with permadeath on, and I like that feature a lot, but coming right on the heels of a real tough time with XCOM 2, I just want to do some tactics, Austin.
So where are you at in the story here? Give me the broad strokes of what sort of things you're getting up to.
All right, so we are building up this resistance to go after Nor, and there's a lot of trying to convince people that Nor is evil. There are a lot of neutral characters that I knew back when I was with the Norian army that show up. It's like, oh, Riker, why are you with these ninjas? And I'll be like, oh, Dad's a dick, and trying to convince him to join the side and everything. So yeah, there's actually a decent amount of neutral characters that will show up in either one. Which I'll speed through this because there's a lot of dialogue in this game.
There's a lot of talking. That's part of the appeal. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily make the best quick look stuff, but
yeah, I need to show the tactics, obviously.
I do love the story stuff, and I was saying to you before we started recording that I was telling you yesterday before I flew in that that I really almost wish that there was a middle ground between XCOM and Fire Emblem, where I want the customization of all the characters that XCOM has. But I really do love the support conversations and even the weird dating elements that are in this game. I want a cool middle ground between the two.
Yeah, if I could have support conversations between my Brock Lesnar and Axl Rose, that would be great.
That's all. That's kind of all any of us want in life, I think.
Yeah. So, I'm actually just going to skip this just so we can see the tactics here.
Okay, it sounds like some Norns are attacking your little base or something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And these support conversations are here. I've been trying to marry this girl, so I talk to her a lot. I can't talk to her right now. You can always invite someone to your private quarters once a day, and I always ask Orochi over.
You can do that in real life, too. It's a hot tip for people who are watching. Once a day, you're allowed to ask one person into your private quarters.
Save that
they might say no.
Austin, save that for dancers. We'll have you on at some point here.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. I'll give you all my dating advice.
Yeah. So yeah, you can, there's a lot of stuff you can do to just speed stuff up if you want to. So once you've picked your team, which I have
a lot of characters.
A few at this point, yeah. You can go into optimize, and it just optimize your currently selected fighting units equipment.
Okay.
Which, sometimes you'll want to go in and kind of tinker with that, because...
So one of the things I've already noticed is that none of these weapons have, and I noticed this in my playthrough too, have numbers next to them?
Yes, so there's no weapon degradation.
That's such a huge thing with the way I think about Fire Emblem.
Although you'll notice for staffs, for healers and everything, those do have limited uses. So you have to kind of plan for that stuff. But yeah, your weapons, your bows and all that stuff, you can just go to town with them.
That's pretty great.
Pretty great, yeah.
All right, let's jump into it.
All right, beat the boss. So that's the thing too, with Birthright being the easier of the two, it's a lot more of beat the boss, rout the enemy, just kill everyone type things. Whereas Conquest has a lot more of like keep this guy alive or reach this thing or
like very specific objectives. Okay, because Conquest is like modeled after the older like the Path of Awakening or Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, like pre-open worldy Fire Emblems.
Yeah, it's a mission structure where there's one mission after another. Every kill matters. Your XP for each one since you can't really grind. So
it's a lot of like, I want to make sure that this character doesn't get too much experience and is the only character with a ton of XP.
And everyone else dies permanently.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of these games, but I also I really like the notion of like giving the player the option of whether or not that's the sort of game they want to play.
Yeah, definitely.
You're doing a timed and true tactic here of waiting exactly one square away.
Yep. Which I noticed in the XCOM quick look that these type of games are the fucking hardest to talk and play well at the same time.
Totally.
Like, I've talked during hundreds of games, but tactical things, my performance drops considerably while I'm trying to talk. So if I'm fucking terrible, apologies. So you get your flying guys here, and as usual, you want to keep them away from your archers, because you can see down there the steel bow is, it'll hurt those Pegasus, or whatever those things are. Here's a Orochi. Actually, let me make sure I've got the... animations on. There we go. So now we can actually see it. I was trying to get through.
How are the options? Are there lots of like if you want to turn that stuff off, and if you want like your game to just be a really quick?
Yep. I can have it just be my units. I can have it be just my turn. I can say like if there's just one guy who I really like his animations, I can do that.
Right. Like you like a cool samurai who does like a quick awesome slash. You could always see those.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's really cool.
And also stuff like singing animations and stuff like healing. You can just turn that stuff off, which that's the same. It's not exciting.
Like if you're on the bus, that's I just want to get through a map. I don't need to see all of my animations while I'm in mass transit.
Yep. So I can switch between my weapons here. This is probably not the best choice, but I want to see that ox spirit hurt this guy.
Her weapon is ox spirit?
Yeah, she makes spirits of oxes and rats and snakes and crap fight for her.
All right.
You see why I want to marry her?
Yeah, you should marry her.
That's why I invite her to my private quarters.
Okay, Dan, I just met her, but I'm getting a real good vibe.
Yeah.
I think, she's a keeper.
Yeah.
Obviously things can go bad, but at the very least, I think this is going to be a very, like, self-improving relationship. You've learned that you love women who can summon ox spirits.
Yeah.
You've learned a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Also, you can slow stuff down here, or you can go into like first person. You can switch between these different camera angles down here.
Okay.
I really like doing slow-mo right before the attacks hit, or pause
Almost
if it's a
up.
boss fight. This is a man that turns into a fox.
Okay, yeah, Kitsune, sure. That's, yep.
He wears fox ears, so let's watch him here. Oh, so he's gonna really fuck up this archer guy.
Because Beast Stones, he's gonna attack twice, I see.
Yeah, he turned into a fox.
He's also already kind of a fox. Like, he already has fox ears.
Yeah, I think he's got a tail, too.
How are the attack animations? These have seemed pretty cool so far.
Yeah, they're cool. I like them. At times, if you're just doing like a challenge mission or whatever, I'll turn off the animations and everything just because, you got shit to do. But overall, I think they're really well done. Oh, man, I'm just going to fuck these guys up. This is great. So, yeah, you can hold in Y to make it slow. You can hold in A to make it go faster. You can do cool dramatic pauses and move the camera around. But overall, a lot of this stuff feels a ton like Awakening. Like just this boots on the ground type stuff, Like there are,
Is that a good thing for you? Like, are you just happy to have more of this at this point?
Awakening was a big game, and I feel like it wasn't a long time ago. I remember playing that a couple years ago. So I gotta say, it's not grabbing me as much as Awakening did right off the bat. Because Awakening felt more new back then.
Sure.
It felt like it did a lot of new things for the series. Whereas I think the big selling point of this one is the branching path and everything. But then again, that's something that some people might not like because it kind of requires you to have to pay more money, you know?
Right, right. So like all said, so the special edition was $80, but that's basically sold out everywhere. When I bought this, I just bought the $40 download of Birthright. And then now I can go into that menu and choose to buy the other 2 DLCs, or I guess right now just the Conquest for $19.99. And then when Revelations is out, I'll be able to spend another $20 to get that. So it's going to be $80 if I want all of the story. Which is the same as what it would have been with the special edition. I just don't get a cartridge. I just have to download all of that stuff onto my system.
Right.
And that is a lot. Like that is $80 for the whole thing is a lot.
But here's the bright side of that, though, is I think that if you are way into Fire Emblem, and a lot of people are, there is a fucking lot of Fire Emblem going on here. Like there is a ton. Like it really does seem like 3 different games. Like they have the first like 6 quick missions shared, but after that they're all unique things, and you're you know, some of the same maps, but you see from the other side. This is a ton of fucking Fire Emblem, and I've heard. Go ahead. Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's the ramp up is great. To where if you're new to the series, Birthright's fairly easy. So if you really like that and you want to keep playing, well, shit, just download Conquest, and you've got this really tough thing here.
Is there a dragon on the screen? Right? What?
Oh, yeah, I can turn into a dragon.
You forgot to mention that you could turn into a dragon?
I'm a dragon man.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, since I have the blood of the dragon flowing through my veins, I can activate dragon veins, which are these things, I don't think there are any on this map, but it can do stuff like, oh, here's a lake that you can't walk over, but if I activate a dragon vein, it'll freeze the water, and I can walk over it. Or this will activate these traps that will hurt enemies if they walk over it.
Okay. I've heard that Revelations, the 3rd one, that like you don't choose either side, has a lot more of that stuff.
Oh, really?
But again, only from people who've played a little bit ahead of me. They've said like that's one of the things that that 3rd game is maybe not as hard as Conquest, but is like even more complex maps, and like the tactics stuff is even more interesting and unique.
Okay.
I'm really excited to get to that eventually in 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, he almost died. He's down to 1 health.
Yeah, that was a poor tactical decision there, but like I said, not making the best ones here. Let's see, are the archers taken care of? We have a little joust battle here.
Now that you've taken care of the archers, you can bring in your flying units.
Yeah.
Are there any other big changes? Do you still do the stuff that in the last game you could do the thing where you like paired up with people? Like you and another person, like we're in the same like square. I like went back and started playing Awakening again to get like my feet wet. And I remembered you could say like, oh, I'll put Crom and my character in the same square, and then they kind of move together as 1 unit instead of 2.
Yeah, you could do that. So like, let's say Hana here, who has 23 HP. If I want to have her kind of protected, I can take her to here's Reyna. She's got 29. So I'll bring her over here, and I can do pair up with Reyna.
Okay.
And so now that gives a boost to stats and everything, and fighting back. So
basically the same basic system there.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, I'm gonna fuck up this Norian here with both of them.
It's also useful because like one of those people has a cool flying whatever that is, and can probably move a little bit further. I used to always put like my big heavy armor dudes on my flying units and just like dive bomb them in, paratrooper style.
Yeah. That's incredibly helpful as far as movement. I'm trying to think of other big changes here. You know, I haven't gotten to like late game stuff where you're like switching classes out after level 20 and all that stuff. So
right.
I've not seen that stuff, but I remember liking that in Awakening, and I know it's back here. I just haven't gotten to it. I'm gonna fox this guy to death.
This looks good, and the animations like load in really quickly. So if you do have them on, it's not like you're sitting around forever for them to show up.
And in fact, on this next one, I'll just jam on start as soon as I get into it, and it's pretty quick. It's probably a guy who can take him out in 1 hit. Yeah, that'll do it. So if I'm just jamming on start here, it's not a super long thing.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. That way, if like this character has the longest animations, you can just like jam right through them.
Yeah, it's super easy. You can also do that with dialogue and stuff, but you know, this is a pretty story-heavy game, and the characters are a big part of it. That said, I mean, I don't know. I feel kind of a divide with a lot of Fire Emblem fans when it comes to that, because like I play these games mostly because of the gameplay. I think some of them tell decent stories, but I've always thought the characters were very, very just stereotypical JRPG characters. It's, you know, you wake up with amnesia, like that happens in this game, and I don't know. I didn't find a lot of.
It's certainly an acquired taste. I think there's a lot of in anime in general, and especially in JRPGs. It's less like, oh, this is a completely novel character, so much as it is like, oh, this is a good variation on this archetype that I know super well. And the same way, like in Wrestling Dan, where it's like, oh, like this is like the dirty foreigner character stereotype, and some of those are terrible.
Oh yeah.
And then every once in a while, there's one that's like, oh, this is actually kind of a funny spin on this thing that's self-aware and is like smart enough to be good, or like the performance is just extra good. That's the way it is in anime and JRPGs. Is like, okay, I get it. Like this is like the mysterious warrior who like is like super fast, and like, okay, that's a billion different characters, but some of them are better than others, even though there's their same basic concept. Some of them could shoot oxes out of their fans. Like, okay, that's cool.
Okay, all right. It's good that you're on this because, me not really having an anime-centered brain.
Exactly. I'm trying to think of like a really good example. Like,
what about Muhammad Hassan?
Sure. Totally.
Where it was like the evil foreigner gimmick, but then they had a smart element to it, but then they got real shitty with it near the end.
They still got really shitty. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It can be just like a million people have tried to do the Steve Austin gimmick, right?
Yeah.
Or the like, you hate your boss, you're like a badass who drinks beer a lot. It's not always as good as Steve Austin.
Oh, Roman Reigns.
Sometimes it's Roman Reigns.
Hey, everyone, welcome to the Power Bombcast. I got Alex Navarro right here, Giancarlo Veronini.
I'm just saying, sometimes it's different. Sometimes you're not Steve Austin, and that's okay. And it's the same thing with anime or with JRPGs, where like sometimes you get the character who's this amazing standout. Sometimes you get like Sid from Final Fantasy VII, who is like who smokes all the time and has like a cool jean jacket on and an airship. And like sometimes you just kind of get like a shitty JRPG character. Like I can't even remember the countless versions of the would-be badass.
It doesn't seem like there's a ton of like Auron in Final Fantasy X. It seems like there's just a ton of those like, oh, mysterious sunglasses badass guy. But then every once in a while you're saying that there's somebody that seems to be that, but then there's more to it?
But there's more to it, exactly.
Okay.
And that's the thing that's like kind of cool about these games too, is like there's so many characters that most of the time it's like I could take or leave 60% of them, but the remaining 40%, like, oh man, I really like this character or that character because they're just like unique enough or cool enough. Like there was a character who in the last Fire Emblem who was just like the smarky, or not smarky. Now you have me in wrestling mode. Snarky thief guy who was just like, oh, I've seen the snarky thief guy a million times, but I actually really liked him. He was like, for whatever reason, having such a grounded character in that setting worked really well. So there's always, you just gotta, if you come at it through the lens of wrestling, you'll come out okay.
That's what I always say. Austin, you are incredibly good at finding good ways to explain things. You know your audience, you know how to explain things, you know how to make a good analogy. Man, you're good at what you do.
I try my best here. And this is why I flew out, as I knew you needed an anime translator and someone who could really explain.
Yeah.
So what you just did there was you sung so that character could go again?
Yes, which I've turned off singing and healing animations. So normally you would see her do a thing, which I hope you like hearing this goddamn song. You probably heard it in the opening thing. They're like, the ocean's great waves, something. It's just, you hear that 1,000 fucking times in this.
That's a good, if it's you singing it each time, or is it this anime lady?
Anime lady sings it a lot.
Okay, well, I don't want to hear it.
There have been like 6 different scenes where she was saying it. But yeah, Austin, I like this game. It's good. I don't think it's grabbing me the way Awakening did.
Okay, are you doing the thing where you're playing it on your commute in?
I've actually been playing this on the stationary bike at the gym.
Oh, wow.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It makes time go pretty fast, And
sure.
Stationary bike, you can actually hold a thing and pay attention to it.
Plus, it's good because you're developing the skill of like making tactical decisions on a bike just in case one day you're on a bike and have to make a quick decision.
A car's coming around the corner, and I'll be ready.
Then you know to hop on the Pegasus because it has a higher defense value.
Exactly. You get it. So yeah, that's kind of the broad strokes here. Obviously, there's just so much of this game.
Totally.
It's been funny seeing how other places have covered it. Like when there's reviews, a lot of places have completely separate reviews for both games because they are completely different, not just story-wise. The way they're structured, their difficulty, the win conditions, all that stuff. Like they seem like different games.
Yeah, I'm like so torn on this. I guess I'll know after I put some more time into it. My fear is like I'm gonna get halfway through Birthright and then realize I actually like the characters more in Conquest, or I wish it was a little bit harder or something like that. But I'll give it a shot. We'll have to see.
And that's why it is kind of cool to where like if you just fall in love with this game, there is more game for sure, and you can see a totally other side of it. So
it's such a big experiment, and this is maybe a weird thing to say, but like I remember going back to when Iwata was still president of Nintendo. He was doing all of those Iwata asks about this game, and they talked about how Awakening was supposed to be the last one in the franchise because it hadn't been doing super well in terms of numbers, but it was such this big standout success that it always felt like this was so big that we could really go all out for this next one, really give it our all and see what that looks like. So I'm excited that there is like this huge, massive game because it's a franchise I've really liked for a long time, and I'm excited that they're kind of giving it the kind of biggest, version of it that there could be.
For sure. It's ambitious, it's a novel approach, it's a lot of game for people that like Fire Emblem. And, actually, I can show Dragon Vein real quick before we wrap this up.
Okay, before we wrap it up, I want to see this Dragon Vein.
Let's see if it's a good one. Some of them are just
Dragon Vein just sounds like a fucking fantasy drug. Like, if people, like if there was a bad drug problem in Lord of the Rings.
It's Dragon Vein.
Or in Game of Thrones, yeah. Gotta get got that Dragon Vein.
This seems like a pretty good one. Trigger a landslide to damage all enemies.
So that sounds all right.
Everyone in that yellow is getting hurt.
That's everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yes, fuck you guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, okay, that could have been better.
Well, okay, listen, that's all right.
Yep.
That's the thing this game does not really have. Like, again, coming from someone who's playing XCOM a lot right now is like, my Grenadier is really good in XCOM. Or like a sharpshooter with the AoE pistol attack.
Oh,
where it's like, I'm just gonna hit everybody on the screen at once.
I love that.
It's so good, and Fire Emblem does not often have big AoE attacks. So
right.
One of the big differences, besides the anime.
Yeah. Well, I believe that's a decent look at just a fraction of what this game has to offer.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really glad I flew out here for this. This has been I think it's been a really responsible use of my free time and money.
Yeah. Well, you gonna stay for the weekend?
No, I think I'm gonna head back. I got some things,
All right, well, I'm getting a pizza for Fastlane if you want to come over, Austin.
Okay, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll go home and check in on some things and then come back out for Fastlane. That might make sense.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it, Austin. Thanks for joining me today.
Dan.
See you Sunday.
See you Sunday.